I am extremely thrilled to have you here today. I'm super pleased as you have been a really big inspiration for me professionally, but also on the personal side.
Mhm.
And I thank you very much for taking your time to be here. I know that you're really busy with your businesses, traveling, and with your beautiful family. So thank you.
Absolute pleasure, Luca. It's an honor to be here, sharing an amazing time with you.
Thank you.
Oh.
And I love the fact that actually Coco feel really comfortable with you.
That's it, yeah, no, I make everyone comfortable.
Easy.
We're good.
We said the magic words. What's going on?
Yeah.
What's
What's
going
going on? You're good to go. I was thinking, now it's your turn. Hello, my name is Coco. Small
Yeah.
camera.
How you doing?
Like, oh, you good?
Well, Eric, let's start from the beginning. In this podcast, as I wanted to, everybody knows we start always from the beginning.
Mm.
Tell us a little bit, like what has been your background, where you're coming from,
Mhm.
and a little bit about yourself and your family.
Mhm. Originally from Slovakia, born to a family of two. I've got older brother, mom, dad, and grew up in a little village called Branch, which is population of about 3,000 people. So it's a kind of village that when you go on a bicycle, you know everyone. Whatever happens in a village, everyone knew it within a few hours. Um, and then I went to studies, which was a hospitality management. And that's where really my journey, which is going until today, picked up because one of the sessions we had in the class was cocktails. So it wasn't the movie Cocktail. I actually went through in my high school through the cocktails. So my first white lady was the actual first drink I probably ever put together in a shaker and sugar. And I will never forget that was a moment where we had this whole table set up with all the ingredients and it was like green thing there, which I never seen in my life. And imagine I was 17, maybe 17 years old. Palate very young, very soft. I picked it up, put it in my mouth. And, oh my gosh, it was so salty. And that was the first time I tried an olive. Yeah. So that was a bit of a touch of cocktails.
Do you think that has been your turning point?
Not yet. Not yet.
Okay.
It was just like, it was a kind of like a seed
Okay.
that it was just back on my back on my head, just kind of like a sitting there. Then what happened was, I finished the school. Straight away I was taken to military service. So I went to army. I did 1 year. I was a driver, instructor of a lorry. And after the army, I went straight to working in a restaurant. A friend of mine had a restaurant nearby. So I started there. And that time, still a company called Seagram was our biggest portfolio. So that time Seagram had the Glenlivet, Seagram's gin, Viborova vodka. So what is today probably Pernod. I think Pernod, they took it over. And this distributor brought a book. And this book was about cocktails. So it's like, this is pretty cool. I really, really like that. So I started looking into that. And he gave it to my colleague, not even to me. And I was so jealous of it. And then one day I was on a train with a friend of mine who was a musician. He was reading a Rolling Stones magazine. And if he just dropped it on its seat, I picked it up and I just like went like, and that was this serendipity. I opened a page, and on the page was a bartender posing with 2 Beefeater bottles behind his back, pouring into a mixing tin. And I was like, this is so cool. And I was like, what is this? Final Beefeater Cocktail Challenge in Prague. I was like, I'm in. So I went to a travel agency and I showed them like, this event is happening there. Can you organize me transport, a hotel, and tickets for this event? So I went, and that time my girlfriend's father had this big camcorder VHS. I took it. I was like, could you lend me the camcorder? So I took my girlfriend to Prague. I went to this competition and I filmed the whole entire competition. And it was like a little world class. Various challenges, speed round, a lot of flair, questions. And it was like a big show. I was super amazed, like first time seeing bartenders in real, not in a bar, but in action. And that was like, okay, I think this is what I want to go for, and started searching more. And then I had this book. My colleague had this book, and as I was flipping through the book, I found on the last page was a school. So the Roman Uhlir, who wrote that book, he actually had his own school. He won that competition few years back. And I was like, let me give him a call, see what's happened. So I called him. I was like, I'm interested in flair. Shut the phone down. What did I say wrong? I wanted to learn something. I was like, okay, I need to call him again. Maybe the connection, whatever.
You were 17, right?
No, that was no. This was after military. So
After military.
So after military, I started in that restaurant, the first restaurant, right after military. So I was 19, 20.
Okay.
Around 20. I think I was 20 because military was 18 for 1 year, 19. So in my 20s, early 20s.
I can imagine you like via military.
So I came back from military. Imagine during the whole military, I was shaving my head. And when I finished, I let my hair grow like this. I had this like literally up to there. So I called him second time, and he's just like very sharp, like, yeah, flair is not what it's all about. I teach how to make cocktails. Like, yeah, that's what I want to learn. So he proposed me a date when he is. I looked it up. I had to hand over my notice because it was like a proper school Monday to Friday every day. So hand over my notice, and I went to Prague. First day at school, I showed up with this long hair, and he looked at me like, listen, if you want to work as a bartender, you need to chop your hair. Sure, no problem. Next day, hairdresser, can you cut my hair, please? Oh, your hair is so beautiful. I was like, please cut my hair now.
Just do it.
And she did. And I went back next day. I was like, this is how I like it. So he's seen me, it's like, I'm taking this quite seriously. And I was non-stop with that book. He gave me that book, and he goes, within 3 months, this book, it won't be in your head, but it will be in your heart. And that really caught me. It's like, that's what I want. This is, I really wanted, like, learn everything. So product knowledge, history of the spirits, and all the classic recipes, histories behind the classic recipes. Like, oh my God, I found that this is what I really want. And he saw me that I was so into it. So he had also a catering company. And I told him, listen, every time when you need me, I'm available. So I started doing caterings with him, doing events, which was a great exercise. I remember after my first one with him, imagine you're doing your really first event with someone who is your teacher, mentor, and you're just doing everything wrong. Everything went wrong. Like, I didn't close the bottle with the sugar syrup. It opened, it went into the rail. I put the ice in the ice well through into the speed rail, and as we were at school, he did like full report on me, how bad I was performing, and I was just sitting there, just like, ooh. But in a way, it was good because I knew what he wanted. He wanted to kick my ass, and I was like, I know you can do this, but in order to do this, you just can't sit back and just like, I'm telling you, it was well done, it was amazing. So I said like, okay, I need to work on this harder. And so yeah, so I was there for 3 months, and probably on a second or third week, he comes to me, he's like, listen, on Friday you're going to Bratislava. So, to do what? I'm consulting a bar, which is the first cocktail bar in Bratislava, just open, and they need a staff because they opened a bar and they had only 2 bartenders, and it was the first cocktail bar in the capital, and they go so busy. It's like, sure, I'm in. I got in, did my first shift, amazing, like finally, and it was Friday night. So my first shift, Friday night, shaking hands, like so nervous, and I was like, this is how it's gonna work. It's so uncomfortable, but I wasn't nervous. It was just excitement, but my hands were so shaky. I don't know why. And so then the weekend, Friday, Saturday, and when I was going back, owner goes, "Would you like to come next weekend?" I was like, "Yes." For 3 months, every Friday, by train, 6 hours from Prague to Bratislava. Did my Friday shift, did my Saturday shift. Sunday, 4 in the morning, I took a first train to my hometown, which I always missed because that was, by the time I reached my hometown, was 7 a.m. So I just like fell asleep, missed the stop. Mom, Dad, can you come pick me up? I missed it again. They picked me up on the next, like, third village or whatever it was. Came back home, see my girlfriend, dinner, and I was taking a midnight night bus on a Sunday that would bring me to Prague like 8 in the morning. And the timing was hilarious because it was not enough time for me to go back to my accommodation, but still too early to go to the school. So what I was doing, I jump on they have 4 lines, A, B, C, D, metro lines. So I jumped on, I can't remember which was C, the red one. So I jumped on it because on that line was the school. So I jumped on it and I was going from the one beginning to the end. And then I waited when the train was coming back. I jumped back on and I was just going back and forth like 2.5 times, reading the book, studying it. Because it was cold, it was winter. I was like, what am I going to do? Poor student. So I was just going this and reading the book. And when time was like, okay, now it's time, get off, went to school, done that.
Do you think he has been the biggest influence in your career?
One of, because he was so hard. He was no softy, super hard. And that's the best I think you can. It's so rare now with all the today in approach. It's just, if you would do it today, you would be probably accused by.
Can't be done today.
Let's not even go there. Let's not even go there. All that I can say is that everything what he done was good for me.
But you, from your words, I clearly understood that you put a lot of dedication. I mean, you totally believe that.
I split with my girlfriend. I stopped completely seeing all my friends because all my friends were hanging out, and I said, I'm going to Prague. So no family, no friends, no girlfriend, like completely just pure dedication to bartending.
Do you think it's dedication or is obsession?
I think it was.
And tell me more about
it. What was it? It kind of like I seen it from far away, and I kind of liked it, bartending. And then when it was in front of me, I just loved it. And more I was learning about it, more I was discovering, more I liked it. So when 5 years passed of my career of bartender, I look back and I say, I do not regret 1 minute of doing what I'm doing. So let me tell you, after that 3 months doing this triangle of non-stop just on a public transport and work and sleeping where I could, I got an offer straight away in the bar by Karol Sass, which became another mentor of mine, like from operating a bar business. And I stayed with him about 3.5 years. And he opened a restaurant at age of 18. And since then, he said, I'm not going to work for anybody else. He's in the business until today. So we are friends until today for more than 30 years. And I was with him 3.5 years, completely dedicated. And he had this ethos of, I want to open the town and I want to close the town. But not with 3 venues, with 1.
So from the breakfast.
So the bar, which was the first cocktail bar in Bratislava, he had this image of having everything in one. Starting coffees, juices, like freshly squeezed juices, and cocktails. So my shift started at 8 o'clock in the morning because we had to get the delivery, set up the bar. So 8 o'clock I would come to work. Then we would open a bar. And I would work until 1:30 in the morning. That's 16 hours. On Friday would be till 3 o'clock in the morning. That's 18 hours. And I would do it for, we had that some long weeks and short weeks. Long was I would work 5 days a week. And short was like 3 days a week. But intense, full on.
What do you think, the structure that you had in place, when you start to work there, was coming from? Do you think the military service helped out?
I wouldn't necessarily say military. For me, military was joke. I set up a self-discipline military service on my own. I was always going to bookstores, buying books, and reading Asian philosophy. I went into the meditation in Japanese Buddhism, tea ceremony. I became a vegetarian during the military service. Everyone was scared of military service because you need energy, you need a lot of meat. I show up in the military services, I don't meet, and they started laughing at me. It's like, you're not gonna last. I did.
Where do you think this is coming from? Is your mom, your
Mindset.
father, yourself?
It's just mindset. No, my parents, they eat everything. I just was reading those things and I was like, no, I can't hurt these animals. I can't eat them.
That's a really tough one.
Yeah.
Military service as a vegetarian, like.
And every Monday to Friday, you would have the morning exercise, which is 5K run every morning. I done it without no issues. Every morning, they were telling me the colleagues like, stop, don't run. Why? You're supposed to run. I'm gonna run. I love it.
You have a bulletproof mindset.
Oh, for sure.
And do you think this is your core? Like, that is why, it takes you to the following steps,
I think
in
so.
your life?
I think so. Now I can, when I look back and things I've done, it's almost feels like like a pit bull. When that one he switches off, he just like bites it and just doesn't stop. You can kick that dog as much as you want and it just holds it. And I had these things as well that I can go the moment, then I can say like, okay, now it's fine, it's done. I can relax. If it's not done, it's not meant to be for me to relax.
And going back to the story, what happened after that?
So we are in Bratislava. Funny story was that one summer, Carol, who's the owner of the bar, he goes, I'm bringing two friends of mine because they work in the winter in Austria, in the Alps, and the summer they are free. And they're good friends of mine, bartenders. I'm bringing them in to help us. So I still have this picture in my head that I'm behind the bar, Friday evening, summer night, bar is buzzing. And he was like, I'm going to pick them up. I'm going to bring them in. But he didn't say the names. We had no idea who was these people will be. Guess who was these people? One of them was the person who was in the Rolling Stone magazine on the advertisement. What are the chances? And I was like, I cannot believe it. Philip Müller. Is that really you? Until today, we are best friends.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And next story is that, and that's where it was when my departure from Slovakia kind of started coming, because we're in Bratislava, a lot of foreigners coming in, many of them speaking in English. I can't understand a word. And I remember there was a guest and he was talking about London bars. And I was like, this is this bar in London. It has the longest bar in the world called the Long Bar at the Sanderson Hotel. I wrote it down, put it in my pocket, completely forget about that. And then I started searching about the ingredients, cocktails, everything coming up in English. I was like, damn, I don't understand anything.
I need to get there.
What do I do? Yeah, just going for it. So US, Australia, and rainy, cloudy England was on my third choice. What happened? Our bar was next to British embassy, and we regularly had those people in, and they said, oh, by the way, it's not official yet, but from next month, Slovakia don't need any more visa to visiting UK. I was like, oh, really? So like, I think then I know what my decision will be. It's close, no visa, because I want to come here, learn English, and also work. I need to survive somehow, because that time, I'm talking 2004, it was very difficult to come to US or Australia. Only visa. A lot of documents, why you want to go, what do you want to do there. And so I went to London. I bought a language school package for 6 months in Camden Town because I paid all in cash. It's like, we give you a free ticket, but bus ticket. It's like, okay, who cares? I'm kind of used to it, which would be all fine. It takes, I think, about 18 hours or something. I was traveling 36. Bus broke down in Germany. So, and I prepared to stay in a family, like a guest family. So I like get to know London from someone. But imagine I arrived 12 hours later. So they were worried. Where are you? What's up? I could not explain it. The bus got broken down. Anyways, I stayed in this family in High Barnet. So I'm looking on the map and suddenly it's like, bloody hell, it's not on the map anymore. It's off the central London. So it's like, okay, so I live here on one map, and then in another map, my school is here. I was like, okay. Anyway, again, just going from one into almost another. So I went to school. First thing I've done, went to news agent, and I found this bar guide. I'm not sure it was Ford's guide or who wrote it, but they have all the bars there with addresses and pictures. I was like, this is what I needed. And every weekend, I just went taking one by one lab, townhouse, the beachfront place. And I was going around, and it was this one place which kind of like, and I never can find it. I was like, what's going on here? But this was a club, so only worked Thursday, Friday, Saturday. So if I would go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, was nothing there, no a big sign. So I was always missed it. And one night, I was passing by, and there's a big queue outside. I was like, oh, this must be the place. I was with my schoolmate from language school. I was like, hey, let's go for a drink here quickly. And step in the queue, and the guy goes like, it's £40 each. I was like, 40. That time you're still calculating the currency exchange. So £40 was...
What was the time?
So
2004.
2004. Yeah, so that was a thing.
Probably was double.
So just to give you an idea, one British pounds was about 55 Slovakian crown, which was our salary back in Slovakia. So for 55 Slovakian crown, you can go out, have a beer, have a meal, and side dish. And this was 40. Imagine that. Just for entrance, I looked back, and he was from Czech Republic, so I told him in Czech, and the guy was Polish. And he overheard that, so he just like, okay, 20. Okay, now is the opportunity. So I bought a ticket for both of us, got in King Attica nightclub. It's like, whoa, what is this? First time I'm seeing such a nightclub. And I'm looking around, it's like, this is a place. I'm asking for a job. I had on a paper written down, hi, my name is Erik Lorincz. I'm looking for a job. I'm a bartender. By that time of my girlfriend, literally on like a piece of paper. I pull it out, and I was like, okay, I need to speak with the bar manager who must wear a jacket. Oh, that's him. Call him. Quickly read it up. It's like, sure, come tomorrow, 8 o'clock. That's it. That was easy.
I didn't put much effort. We really worked.
No CV, no interview. Come tomorrow, 8 o'clock, wear black.
Because you have a trustable face. That's why. And how did you felt at that moment?
No, wait. I show up next day at 8 o'clock. I show up 8 o'clock, and first guy who I bumped into was Xim from Kosovo. He was the head barber. Hey, new? Yeah. Take this, put that, clean that, hoover that, polish that. Man, I was doing the job. What I was telling was like, fine, good job, good. I'm doing whatever he has to tell me. I'm doing everything. And then as I was doing what he was keep on telling me to do, I keep on looking at it like there's someone constantly looking at me. And I was like, well, I'm doing something wrong here. And suddenly this guy, short, blondie, comes like, hey, what's your name? Erik? What are you doing here? Come with me. He takes me out from a club. We're going to a fire exit. And with a South African accent, full on me. What are you doing here? What's your why? And he was keep on going. I was like, I have no freaking idea what this guy is asking. Because I was like 2 months in London. I was like, what this? Standing there, I'm just like, have you worked in a bar? Yeah. You know what to do? Yeah. Go back. Basically, what's happened, the manager who was spoken to the night before, he went on a holiday. While he was on a holiday, he resigned. He never came back. I never see him until one day. And he never handed over. So I just show up and nobody knew anything about me. Anyway, so yeah. But he kept me. I was doing that. So again, so it was a nightclub. That shift started at 8, club open at 10, close at 3. I would get home around 4, 5, and the language school would start at 10 a.m. 6 months.
Wow.
Full on. So after 6 months, I picked up English pretty well.
What has been the biggest challenge for you from where you're from, working there, in London? Can you?
I think it was just a bit of a frustration. So that learned me to be more patient about things doesn't work. You need to just, it's not the right time or it's not there yet. Because back in Slovakia, we were the first cocktail bar. Carol had an agency. Like I was doing a birthday party for this guy who flew in on his 30th birthday party on a helicopter. He got the Lamborghini as a birthday gift. So imagine like the level of guest. And then I'm in London wearing black from top to the bottom and brushing the floor. Not even behind the bar.
Stepping down in
Completely. So imagine like that's what was the thing. Like over there, you feel like you in your game and here you are like a little nobody.
Do you think that this has really helped you to be who you are today?
I think so, yes, because I didn't run away. I said there will be a day that this change. And I was keep telling myself like there will be a day this will change. And 6 months later when I was in the club, my English was quite good. So I went from the floor to back, and then I saw the guy was stealing money and doing that. So I said like, I don't like that when they're doing this. Kicked him out. So now you're the head bar back. I was like, okay. Charge of all the guys, all the preps for the bar, everything, done that. And then when I went on my holiday, I came back and it was like, oh, have you seen the rota? I was like, well, you're not on the barback shift. I was like, what, you're not on the barback rota. I was like, where are you? You're in the bartender rota. And the bar was 6 stations in an L shape. They put me, because it's my first bar shift, to the, not the verse, but the station that basically, as you were standing on your station, in front of you was a massive column covered by mirror. So I was like staring into myself, and you had the guest from left side and one guest from right side, because that's how much they could reach you. And that was it. It's like, okay, I'm gonna shoot the best. I did 5.4 sales K on that station, which normally the bartenders would do on the point. So the South African Llewellyn doing the reports one by one, he printing them out, is like straight to the point, printed it out. He did like 3.9 or something. I did 5.6. I was like, he gave him so, and that was a head bartender at that time. He gave him so much. Like, look at him, what he done. What did you do? How did you do? I was just like, I just did not stop. I just took every opportunity, selling, pushing. Next shift, point. I never left the station until I resigned. 2 years on the point, then obviously everything would come with it, responsibilities, title, whatever. And so again, that was just like...
At this stage, you felt more interested on the service side, the experience, or it was more about picking up, London vibe, bars?
That was a time when I was really into like, what direction I want to go, what kind of bartender I want
You were
to
on
be.
brainstorming, on
Completely,
discovering.
yeah, completely. So I worked in a street cocktail bar. I worked in a nightclub. And then year after, Marianne Becker called me. He's like, hey, I'm coming to London. I was like, do you have a job? I was like, no, come.
How did you know Marian Beek?
So basically, when I was leaving Bratislava, he came to Bratislava. So we kind of like briefly cross a path. So I knew him that he just came from his hometown to Bratislava, and shortly after I went to London. So we exchanged contacts, and then when he came to London, first thing he messaged me is like, hey, I'm coming to London. First thing I asked him, do you have a job? He's like, no, come. So we become colleagues basically in this club. And
Family stick together, right?
of course. And then I've seen him like, as you know him, he's like, bloody hell, this guy is on steroids without taking them. So we were on our days off, we were in a what's that called? The bookshop. Basically in the bookshops and just reading bartending books non-stop. And then he found the job on a head-on street. And we were like kind of getting tired of the nightclub because it was just like nothing going on. In a nightclub, imagine. Highballs, bottle service. We tried to bring some cocktails, but that wasn't really a main thing for them. So a living room open on a head-on street where is now Gordon Ramsay. And he got some contacts there. So he was like, hey, this doing some proper cocktails, maybe another job extra. So we picked that job, both of us. So we were doing living room on our day off when the club was closed. So then when club was open, we would do the club, sometimes doing day shifts in living room and going evening shift in the club. And then shortly after, I found Nozomi. So there was at one point I had 3 jobs in 1 week. Man.
I have to say that what you are saying, like, it makes me really believe, like, you are not just dedicated, you are completely in love and obsessed with it.
Completely. It's young, world is in your oyster, and just like take the opportunity. And that's what we were both seeing. Like London has this opportunity. You just need to bend it over and pick it up because it's there. You just need to do that little effort to bend over for it and work for it. And no matter what you do, but how do you do it? Whatever it was, we just tried to give our best shot. So then I went to Nozomi, which was a Japanese restaurant on the Beacham Place. Marianne went to Townhouse, which was the end of the Beacham Place, opened by Douglas Anker. So that was like a sister restaurant or bar of Lad,
Lad.
I think.
I used to work there.
Did you? Here we go.
Yes, I did that almost 2 years.
Wow, here we go. And then that was the point where I entered the Japanese restaurant where I kind of like, okay, this is probably the path I want to go. And thinking the military service, what I've learned from those books about Japanese tea ceremony, Japanese philosophy. One day I was talking with Stan. I met Stan. He was still in Bratislava at that time, and he was telling me he did trip to Japan, and it was like insane. So I told Stan, I was like, next time you go, let me know, and I'll go with you. So he told me a date. I think Coco wants to go downstairs.
You wanna go?
Go, walk. So next was Stan. He's like, hey, I'm going to Japan. I took a holiday, and instead of going on the beach, I went to Tokyo. I went with him. I went around, and I was like, what is this? That was 2006, I think. First time in Tokyo. And seeing all that, completely out of this world. The style, the attention to details, the glassware, the technique, the bars, super quiet, and everything was just about that moment. And for me, it was just like, I just want to come back as soon as possible. And then, obviously, he took me to all the bars he'd been to. I made a connection with Kaozo Ueda, a tender bar, and on the next trip I went, and I called Marianne. I was like, Marianne, I'm going to Japan. Do you want to go? I was like, oh, I'm in Singapore, so yeah, I can meet you there. So I organized with Kaozo Ueda a training session on ice carving, stirring, shaking, and brought Marianne with me. It's like we went, done that. So it's like, okay. And now I think, and that's where it was like, I know which direction I want to go. And
So the brainstorming is finished. Now we go towards.
now that's to execute.
We going to execute. Do you think you have been one of the first bartender from this side of the world going to Japan and come back with some
It could be with
valuable knowledge?
I think so, because I remember that time when we went first time, there were only 2 people in Japan that could speak English with. It was Ueno-san. He was that time at the Star Bar Ginza, and Mimitsuka, who was working at the Little Smith Bar. Those were the 2 people. So that time, for them, us as foreigners coming to the bar was like unknown. I remember one night that I was at a tender bar. So when Marianne was still in Singapore, so I was like 3 days by myself in Tokyo, completely. I never felt so homesick in my life. Imagine 3 days you're talking with your head. Because I couldn't speak to anybody apart from when I went to...
You like talking to yourself.
Yeah, literally. I was on the street and then I was like, am I going cuckoo? Because I couldn't exchange a word with anybody that time. And I was in the bar by myself at the tender bar. And 2 guests next to me, they see me. And for them was like seeing foreigner in that bar on the 5th floor in Ginza was like impossible. Probably the first foreigner in that bar. So they started asking questions. And I was like, oh, finally, I can have a conversation with someone not in my head. So I was so excited and having this conversation. And in Japan, it's very unpolite. Not from my side, from them that they were approaching me without I was introduced to them.
Okay, I see it.
Got that?
Yes.
So Ueda-san, he leaned through the counter and said in Japanese something to them, and both of them said, "Sumimasen," and no more words. What went wrong here?
The only chance I had to speak is just literally being cut off on the spot.
He told them off, and that was again another eye-opening that stays still with me. I still see the moment of how he spoke with them. And then his bartender he could speak a little bit. Shimbashi-san, yeah. He has his own bar. So his English was okay. And then he was explaining to me, it's like, Ueda-san would like to apologize that those were ruining your evening. I was like, ruining my evening?
You got it wrong, mate.
They were making my evening so perfect. It's like in England, this is flowers. So this is Japan.
Wow. So I can...
So the question is like, you were one of the first. So I came back to Nozomi, which was a Japanese bar, but super high volume. And I was like, no, I cannot do these Japanese things, what I've seen there. Do you remember Long Bar Sanderson Hotel?
I do remember, yes. It's been your first picked up.
So still had the address. I was like, let me go and see that place. So I went. I see the long bar. I was like, okay, very long. And then I see Purple Bar. And suddenly I've got through Marian, he goes, this guy who comes, that time was Marian already at the Montgomery place. And I was like, I've got this guy who always comes to the bar. His name is Giuseppe Gallo. And he was like, he's a supervisor there. Do you want to speak to him? So he put me in touch with Giuseppe. And so I meet Giuseppe. I was like, I'm looking for a job. And I think we met during a bar show or something. And camcorder, diary, like recording everything. And I remember Giuseppe keep repeating that. It's like, when I saw you on that bar show, like you were just like soaking everything, like recording everything. I was like, this is the guy I want to hire. So I went for interview. I got a job. So when I went to a Purple Bar, you been to Purple Bar?
Oh, yes.
15 covers or 15 little seats, very, very tiny. It's like those were the biggest sizes of the Japanese bars, bigger. And I was like, this is perfect for me, where I can do all those things. So I brought all my equipments from Japan, and then I call Eskimo.
Eskimo ice. So you start to see your feet. I
Yeah,
will fit in here. But at that time, you were traveling on your own, learning, I
correct.
guess.
Yeah,
It wasn't a time where you become a figure really
like
strong.
brand would take me. No,
Okay,
own
okay,
expense,
okay.
own expense.
So then you open up your eyes and said, "This is the place where
Yeah,
I can go towards the direction that I want to go."
yeah.
And
So
that has been the Purple Bar, correct?
correct. So I call Eskimo. I says like, I'd like to order ice block. Yeah, we can deliver. It's 150 pounds. I was like, 150 pounds for a frozen ice? Yeah, it's about 95 kilos. Like, no, I don't need, because that was the first order. Eskimo doesn't even know about it, so better they listening today. That they were doing only statues from the ice blocks. So I placed the first order to make that big ice block that would come up from, those frozen things, to cut it in smaller, which is today now a standard, to deliver it to the bar, because I needed a crystal clear ice.
So if we have that block these days in the bar, it's because of you.
Correct. Probably, unless there was someone else, but they couldn't figure out what I wanted. So then most
likely, yeah,
Yeah.
it's you.
I don't want to be like, yeah, it's me. But when I was placing an order, it took me half an hour them to figure out what I actually wanted. So I want a plain, solid, flat block of ice. They deliver it, and then I started. I speak, and that, Giuseppe, we're going to do this. And I remember one day, Ago came with Simon DeFord. That was the first time I met Simon DeFord. And I was already in conversation with Ago about the Connaught. And Simon came and he see all the Japanese equipments, crystal ice. You need to send me an email. Simon, they forgave me his business card. I can't believe it. A few months later, nomination Tales of the Cocktails, International Bartender of the Year. I was like, this must be something. People started messaging me, top 10. This is not true. I was like, well, then I need to go to US. But I need a visa. So I had to ask for a letter, because before that, I wanted to go to Tales. So I had to fly to Slovakia. I was applying for a visa, rejected. So couldn't go. And I knew I was so scared about it. So it was like, I need a letter from you, that purpose of visit for that.
Do you remember the year?
2000. Wait, I was at the Sanderson, so 2007 or 8. Around 2007.
You already spent your good time there. You were there for a year.
Yeah, about a year.
So you felt comfortable in your shoes. You've been practicing.
Yeah, I was practicing because that was the first time I entered to the Theme magazine. Remember Theme magazine?
Yes, yeah.
Done that. There was a Class magazine.
Class magazine, yeah.
Done that. So first competitions, and then New Orleans. So I went on my own. So I went to New Orleans. I went twice on a row. Once went by New York, because I figured out, like, if you buy connecting flights, was cheaper than direct. So I says, why not to see New York few days? And then next year was via San Francisco. So I explored all bar scene, and I went to New Orleans, seen New Orleans. And I think it was Claire Smith was like, hey, who did you come with? I was like, my own. It's like, what do you mean, who paid this for you? It's like, myself. Seriously? It's like, yes. And for me, it was like, why? What's wrong with that? Yeah. So
That's the beginning. I don't want to ask you how many times you've been to NOLA. I remember we had a conversation somewhere, and you told me, yeah, it's about 17 times now.
bit less, I think, but yeah, number is over 10 for sure.
Well, how did you felt it coming from London, to the US at that time,
I was so excited. So excited because I remember my uncle went to US. He was working there. And I was so excited when he sent the postcard from skyscrapers. And the first time I seen skyscrapers on the postcard. And it was like, that was always my big dream to to see New York. So for me, it was like absolutely excited. And I remember also I met Stan there on that trip. So we hang out around these amazing bars, that time still employees only, and
Wow.
Audrey's son, there's the Pegu Club. My God, I didn't have my ID. You had to have ID. So we literally, like, he went show his ID, and then Asipa went through. I handed him ID. I gave him the same ID to the same guy. Okay, fine, we'll go through.
Go in. That's it. Tell me something. How did it go in your list? You've been nominated.
Oh no, I just won in top 10. That's it. I didn't make it to 4, but for me it was like what the heck. For me,
Well,
it's more.
that was a big thing, I guess, for you.
For me, it was more about visiting New Orleans, visiting America.
Okay.
And the list was just like, this must be a mistake. Like, come on.
So then, back to the Purple Bar.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
You were like talking to Ago.
So basically, a bit of a Purple Bar. It's a vodka bar, 150 something vodkas on a back bar, and that was it. And then we had this amazing click with Giuseppe, and it's like, you just can't do vodka. We want to build a proper cocktail bar. So during the Christmas time, the old house champagne by the glass was Dom Perignon, by the way. So all the Dom Perignons, when they were coming in Christmas, they were in a gift box. So from those gift boxes, I built a back bar where I could put first row and a second row of. We built an amazing selection. So you had to have, you couldn't touch the main 3 shelves of 150 vodkas, but underneath you could do whatever you want. So I remember that time our house rye was Van Winkle 13.
Wow.
That time. And I will never forget Colin Dunn is doing a whiskey masterclass, and he picked up Van Winkle and just like, hold of this bottle. This bottle one day, very soon, become a very, very valuable bottle. And I was just like, I need to put one bottle on the side. I need to put one bottle on the side. And I never listened to that voice in my head that time. We know why. You know why.
Yes.
So anyway,
The shortage is there.
we built an amazing back bar, but I felt like, I needed a bit of a more excitement. I wanted to be a part of the opening team. Because what's everyone bartender's dream is open your own bar. How do you open your own bar? You want to open a bar to see how is it to open in order to open your own bar.
I have a little question before we move on this topic, and it's related to creativity. So at this stage, I have a clear point of view that what creativity comes to a cocktail, right? You associate it to discipline, or not?
It was.
You tell me.
It was to understand the flavors. It's probably the most complex one to understand it, because it's not, you can't learn it over a day. The best thing is to learn from mistakes. Trying things doesn't work. One thing which I was always doing every time in Nozomi, for example, when sommelier said, "Oh, wine is corked," and he was about to pour down things, like, "No, don't do that." And he was like, "Why? We can't sell it." It's like, we can't, but we can learn. What does the cork wine taste like? How I should know the cork wine tastes like when I never taste one. And he was like, "Bring 6 glasses, let's give everyone to try." It's like, yes, these are the things. You need to try as many things as possible.
It sounds like there is never a failure, there is never a wrong answer.
No.
It's an answer that you can see
It's
from a
the
different
path of
perspective.
journey and which way you're taking it. It's a failure or wrong, or it's like, yeah, I learned something good from this, or I can take this and turn it into something good.
Impressive philosophy. I love the sound of it, because you have a solution for everything happen. And so then your standard wanted to get a little bit bigger. You wanted to fit bigger shoes.
Yeah.
And what happened then? Tell us like the details. We want to know what the deal has been with Ago.
So basically what happened, I heard first from Riccardo Semeria. He was at Long Bar, and he's telling me like, "Oh, this bar is reopening, Connaught Bar at the Connaught Hotel." And he, because Italian, he already was in touch with Santino Cicciari, who was appointed as a bar manager, because he was in the same group. Mayborn from Blue Bar, he was appointed to do the opening of the Connaught. So I went, and I never forget. It's like, Erik, why are you chasing me? It's like, I want to work here. I started talking, and he goes, do you know Agostino? It's like, yes, I do. So we had a long interview, and when I walked up from my interview, I was like, yes. I signed the papers. So after the interview, I received an email from HR. I was like, here is your contract, you're hired. And I goes, I'm not going to sign it until I know that Ago is signing it. And for Ago, it was a big decision because he also never worked in a hotel bar. I already did. So I knew exactly what I want, but I wanted to be with the right team, right people. And for me, Ago was a big right person to work with. And he was kind of, I remember the beginning, hesitating, negotiating, making sure this is the right decision, so on and so on. And I was like, Ago, did you sign it? And it was like on and on and on until on is like, yes, I did. I signed that contract on Head on Street in front of Momo.
Which is, we're gonna say what it is. Yes,
It's another stop.
it's another stop.
Literally on the terrace, I signed it. And for signed it,
Everything happened for a reason.
everything happened for a reason, correct? Got on with the so I was still doing my resignation period at the Sanderson, and before shift I would always come to Connaught, and I will never forget that we were in a butler's room on, I think, 3rd floor. It's the size of maybe this room, no air conditioning and one fridge and one sink. That's where the first Connaught menu was born. That's where the Connaught Bloody Mary I perfected. So at the Sanderson, I was reading the El Bulli book about the spherifications and airs and agar-agar and so on, soy lecithin. And I couldn't figure out like how you foam it up. So with the chef, we tried different blenders. And then one day it's just like, why you just don't do it like a cappuccino, just like frost it up. It's coming. I kept it. I'd said nothing to nobody at the Sanderson. I was like, this is going to be my next thing. So when I got to Connaught, and I told Agos, like, one thing which I would like to do is Bloody Mary. So, why Bloody Mary? It's like, look what I've got. We made a Bloody Mary, and we had this beautiful cupid. Still the same glass.
It's still on the menu.
15
It's
years.
there.
15 years.
Wow.
So when I've seen that glass, and then I read, I think Anastasia Miller once shared a article where Bloody Mary was mentioned that it was served in a wine glass. So for me, that was the inspiration. It's like, why should be always on the ice? Because we always serve Bloody Mary in a highball. The chunk of celery that everyone would just stir, put it on the counter, made everything messy, and that's how it would end the journey of the celery stick. So I said, why don't we take the celery stick, juice it, mix it with lecithin, do the technique, and float it so nobody can take it off from the Bloody Mary? Because it's a perfect merge between the tomato juice and spices and vodka. You just sip everything together and it's make it so beautiful.
Much more elegant.
It's just amazing.
Slick.
And I was holding the recipe until Connaught came. When I see in the glass, I was like, yeah, the article, wine glass. So it's straight up and in a short, big cup. I was like, Ago, look at this. Done it. I was like, should I put it on the menu? Yes, let's put it on the menu. I never left the menu.
It's a wonderful drink. It's a really, really wonderful drink. Yeah, as we said, it's still on the menu.
Mm.
And for me, it represents like an evolution of something, you know? Or a revolution.
I think it was a bit of a both, because that time, I must say that we were one of the few that we would leave a street cocktail bar and go to a hotel bar. Because if you would go around hotel bars, you wouldn't find a young generation in the hotel bars. It would be all bartenders that they are on the few years to their retirements. Hotel bars were absolutely not as attractive and fancy and cool like they are today. So we were the first who kind of like almost taking a gamble, like how this is gonna go in a hotel bar. You know?
It's a huge gamble.
Can we be creative as we wanna be in a street cocktail bar doing all these infusions when the protocol is so strict with all the guests and everything has to be approved?
What has been the key into this mix? So, like coming from a street bar, going to a hotel bar, what has been so important for you that really worked?
I think
The
I
application.
think it's the pyramid of people who were above us, and that was Thomas Koch, who is amazing hotelier and visionaries. He was the GM that time. He brought Helen Darrows to the Connaught, and they were kind of open-minded. So we done the Connaught Bloody Mary, and then we came up with Ago came up with the bitters for excuse me. Ago came up with the bitters for the martini, and then I was watching him serving it. It was always two people show. One would bring the tray with a mixing glass and the bitters in the glass. Another one had to explain the bitters while one was holding it. And in my head was like, I don't know, that time was 17 pounds. Has to be done by two people. That's only like £8.50 per sell per person. Nothing. We need to double this up. We need to make it much cooler, much better, and more efficient, not two people, because always one server will have to be pulled off the service and just holding the tray until we would do all the spiel. And with that was like, oh, I've got an idea. I was like, what? Trolley? What do you mean? The Martini Trolley. We create the Martini Trolley and we come with the trolley to the table so you can do it by yourself. So we proposed this to David Collins. He was a designer of the bar, and I think he quoted the trolley for like £25,000.
An expensive trolley.
And we go, ooh. And that time I already was having some connections with Diageo. So I messaged them like, hey guys, is this something you would be interested to do for us? What? Martini Trolley with the tanker number 10 on top. Yes, definitely. So that was the thing. So we did the trolley. And trolley has a cool story then. Because one day we got approached by Cocktail Spirit in Paris. And they said, so we would like you to come and do a presentation about your bar, about the Connaught, and present 2 signature cocktails. And so we sit down with Agos, like, what are the 2 drinks? Which are the really represent the Connaught? I think it's Bloody Mary, right? Yeah, so let's do the Bloody Mary. And what do we do the second one? It's like, the Martini, no? Yeah, so let's do the Martini. It's like, Ago, but we do the whole trolley, no? I was like, what? Yeah, we take the whole trolley there. I was like, but how? So I was like, leave it with me. Digged into that Eurostar, oversized luggages. How does it work if you want to transport something big? So, and when I called them, they said you can transport oversized equipments or music instruments, but not the furniture. And they said, so what is this? Yeah, it's a little piano. I came back, I was like, I got it. I was like, what do you mean? Basically, I call up Eurostar. I asked them on oversized luggages and equipments, and they said, we can take it if it's a music instrument or sports equipment, but not the furniture. So what we're going to do, we're going to wrap up the trolley. All what you see is the wheel, and we call it a little piano.
There is not a way, you find a way, right?
We've done it. We wrapped it up. I still remember black cab, put in a black cab, King's Cross Pancras, and we brought it to what's that called? Cocktail Spirits.
Yeah.
I go on a stage. I think Jörg Meyer, he put it on a YouTube, so it's still on the YouTube on the Jörg Meyer link. I'm in the back, and we played like a rock and roll music, like piano on the rock and roll. Ago is talking about it, and I brought the trolley from the back into the audience, and I was like, "What? Did you get this? It's a little piano, ladies and gentlemen." Yeah.
Wow. That's an impressive story, as to say.
The best.
But and the martini is still the most iconic cocktail on the menu. At this specific time is where you start to travel around the world, or you were just in the beginning as be one of the first experiences that you've been inspiring our industry officially. I mean,
Yeah. That was the moment I think I started doing a bit of a competitions or more competitions. So yes, I entered the legacy. So I did
when you were at the Connaught,
yeah.
not at the Purple Bar.
No, at the Connaught. Because the first year Ago did, he made it to the top. He won the Bacardi Legacy
With the Mulatta Daisy.
Mulata Daisy, and I created the Malacon. Again, crazy thing. Digging into history, made it to so it was a final UK round. I think 10 finalists, and I got food poisoning the night before.
No
Could
way.
be so sick, but it's like anything. I went the sickest ever in my life on that stage. And I remember that. So I found this article about the Bacardi that I forgot his name. Sure. Anyway, I forgot his name. So he basically married into a Bacardi. He wasn't a Bacardi by blood, but he was a visionarist. And he found that the way how we can sell Bacardi is if you would buy a case of Bacardi, they would offer you a ice, so you can drink the Bacardi on the ice. So I found this article somewhere, this like he did this amazing thing that he basically saved the brand, that he made the brand leave Cuba and save the brand basically. And I found this article, I was like, I know what I'm gonna do. I'll bring the freaking whole entire block of ice on the stage, and that's the presentation will be about, and linking it together. So that was the first time you would see in UK a lump of ice swimming in the glass in the daiquiri, because I brought the block, and I remember the agency was doing all the logistics. They said, no, don't take the block of ice, you won't have time to do this. I was like, leave me alone.
I know my stuff. Leave me.
There is only one way that I'm gonna take this block of ice, put it on a stage, chip it from the ice, chip it from that block, use that ice, and serve it with a lump of ice.
Genius.
Yeah.
Genius.
So yeah, so that was I won one of the three most promising ones. So so I went to Puerto Rico. So another trip to Miami. It was like amazing.
So you start to get into the
little
feeling
bits
of,
like
this is a good lifestyle,
Yeah.
This is like, we can make it through, everything is good.
Yeah. And then same time I said, okay, what is this world class about? So I entered, done that, did the London heats, got to the UK final. Suddenly I won UK final. And again,
You didn't expect it.
not much. No, I was just like, okay, let's bring this, that, and suddenly everything worked. I done the speed round amazingly. I done what we had to do, pairing, some questions we had, and what else we had. The final was like head to head. You had to go head to head with another bartender who was like a two finalists basically, and the drink it's actually said in the rule that you had to please the crowd, so you had to create a cocktail that you would really wow the audience. So drink I had was first time that time I used a disco because I was going to Japan that time already, few trips. So yuzu, talking about 2010, so 14 years ago, yuzu in a cocktail.
It was a new thing,
It was completely new thing. And
like the block of ice
Yeah.
into the daiquiri.
so yuzu, just a touch to give this nice zing to it. And I was like, what am I gonna do the wow factor here? Oh, botanical steam. And what is botanical steam? So taking all the botanicals which you find in the tanker number 10, I put it in a julep cup with some essential oils of grapefruits, juniper, coriander, and so on, and dry ice and hot water. Here I go, crowd. So when I put hot water, you have this beautiful effect, but the smell as well of the botanicals which you have in a tanker number 10, which is this cocktail made of. And I will never forget the moment that I present the drink with no name on it. No names.
No name is not the name.
No, it's not the name.
No name at all.
I just like, okay, this is what I'm gonna do. I've done that. Here I go. And the speaker, I can't remember who was that, is like, Erik, what's the name of the drink? And I was like, scanning through the room, and on those bars, which they were there, Diageo World Class, Rising the Bar. And I'm just looked into the silence like, rising to the sky.
The best. You call it.
Just literally rising the bar, rising to the sky because of the steam going to the sky. Yes.
Won it. And from there, you went to the global final, right?
From there, Santino comes to me and is like, Erik, it's almost 1 year and you didn't take a day holiday. Because why Erik need a holiday? I love working. I don't need a holiday.
That is where the Slovakian party kicks in.
You must go on a holiday. I was like, okay then.
If I have to.
Send me on holiday. So he gave me like 10 days off. I go home, see my family. This was week before global finals. So I'm all week at home with my family. And this was my schoolmate from primary school. He had amazing wines from his father that his father made. And it's like, you want to come and taste? It's like, yeah, of course. So we went to the cellar. We're tasting some wines. And as we were walking upstairs, low ceiling, and as I step up, I literally banged my head so badly that I chipped my teeth. But like horrible. Like literally I step up, click, and like half teeth gone. I was like, next week I'm going to global finals. I'm missing a tooth. What is this? Go next day to a dentist, fix it. Day after, flying back. I remember that was a Thursday. I got on my shift at the Connaught, started prepping for weekend to getting ready for a world class to Greece. And I was like, I have such a bad headache. I was like, what is this? And this was just getting worse and worse and worse. By the time I get home, I thought my head is exploding. And I already like 4 painkillers done. I woke up 4 in the morning and I was like, it's no longer pain in my head. It's just going to my shoulders, going to my fingertips. I said, I think I need to see a doctor. So hospital, Whittington Hospital, across the street. So I got there in a stage that I could barely walk. When I got in, doctor just wanted to just like prescribe me painkillers. Like I had 6. I'm not leaving this ambulance until I see another doctor. Another doctor take me for a scan. They did a head scan. After I woke up from a head scan, I collapsed. Next time waking up, I'm on a drips in the room. Barry Wilson is calling me. He's like, Erik, are you available tomorrow for a photo shoot as a new UK global winner, new UK world class winner? I said, Barry, I'm in hospital. He's like, what? I said, man, I collapsed. I don't know. I have this. They figuring out what's the problem. Then they found out on the scan that when I banged my head, it was the tooth that hit the nerve, started dying, and that nerve affected my whole system and my shoulders, my hand, everything. So all night in the hospital, I literally had to go on morphine because the pain I had, it was like never in my life.
I believe so.
So then they said, you need to go to see a doctor, like dentist, and they need to check which nerve is exactly dying or it's affected. So go to a doctor, done it, bag of painkillers. I was like, right, am I okay to travel? Yeah, of course. Next day I went to work class with a bag of painkillers and antibiotics.
Unbelievable. And it's the year that you...
2010, got to Athens, sober head, not touching alcohol as the week is long. Because like, first, I need to focus. And second, I can't because I'm taking medicine. So I was just there, just absorbing and watching how everyone is having fun. And I said, I just need to focus and do it. It's like, it felt so natural because all the challenges which we were doing was like, yeah, this looks like Friday night speed run. Yeah, this looks like what we did with Helen Darrows with this food, just pairing. And so on, so on, so on, so on. So all the challenges were like, okay, I can do this. It doesn't sound as difficult as it was. So just go for it.
You've been training for it. without knowing that it
Not
will
that
be
yet.
a competition at some point in your life.
So applying everything into it.
I've got a question which is related to mentorship. Like at this stage of your career, you start to travel, you're becoming a leading figure for everybody in our industry. I think at that stage, already from the content is where I start to get to know you a little bit more. Like I've been seeing you on magazines and, it feels like, there is someone holding the flag. If he can do it, I can do it.
Yeah.
So mentorship. Who has been your mentor that it really helped you over this period of time in London? And the second question is, how do you mentorship your team?
Yeah. So the first one was, the mentorship started with Giuseppe at the Giuseppe Gallo at the Sanderson. And then it became more serious and more construct at the Connaught, where Santino was the bar manager, who was like perfectly managing me and Ago. And working with Ago was the greatest way how he put it together. That imagine for 2 years we had a zero fight between ourselves that we would disagree on something. Zero. We never fight or had an argument about anything.
There was a symbiosis,
It
a
was just
connection.
like the perfect positioning for both of us. It's like a gloves on the perfect, just like fit perfectly. That's how I was with Ago. And that's kind of, I took it away with me from working with him and Santino, that this is I need to apply to work, because we're not saving lives, we're not doing heart surgery, we're making people happy. And you need to do it both ways. You need to do it within the team, and you need to do it within your guest as well. If one doesn't work, it's chain effect the other. If you're not happy with your guests, you get annoyed and you fight with your colleagues. If you fight with your colleagues, you never do a great customer service, and so on, so on. So that was the thing. And then from Connaught, obviously winning the World Class, suddenly a lot of press and message from Daniel Benreuter saying, hey, would you be interested to have a coffee? Like, sure. We met in Notting Hill, and it's just like, yeah, I'm working on opening of the Savoy American bar, and I would like you to consider the role of the head bartender. So, a what? A head bartender. So I came back straight away. I said, Santino, I have to tell you something. I've got this call from Daniel, and he want to give me a head bartender role. Straight, honest. No hiding, pretending, anything. Told them straight away. And then Daniel went quiet for like nearly 3-4 weeks. And every time I came to work, he's like, so, what's next? I was like, nothing. What's next? I think he's taking a piss after me. He went completely quiet. And all of a sudden, I think because it was all a big process, I got a message saying, you need to be, before we proceed, you need to take a Gallup test. I was like, what is Gallup test? This is like an online thing that you need to strongly agree or strongly disagree, because on that test, if you score, then we can put you forward to the first interview. Okay, let's do it. Done it.
Another challenge.
Another challenge, yeah. Done it, and then I think 5 interviews later, I got a role of head bartender. So I went back. I was like, guys, yeah, I've got the role. What do we do here? And they all both knew that Ago being my head bartender, Santino my bar manager, and where they put me, there was nowhere really like to go. And I was super happy that I wouldn't go, but I feel like head bartender at the American bar is like, how many chances you got? And the thing which stayed with me that was with the GM on my final interview. He's like, oh, by the way, just to let you know, we had 260 applications for your role. So congratulations, you got the role. Just to be prepared, maybe 259 will be coming to see you why they didn't got there. So thank you, no pressure. I'll take that.
Well, it must have been exactly about pressure. It must be really a big pressure because the history of the Savoy, what the expectation, and after coming from a lot of competition that
Yeah.
you won or you arrived to the final.
Yeah.
I think that pressure, has been really strong and big for yourself. How do you manage pressure on the personal level, but as well on the working side of?
I think it's all about mindset. It's just about to just try to stay focused and try not to get distracted by what if, the question what if it goes wrong, then if there's a way,
Already wrong. If it's
either fix it or happen to be. So just go with it. So try not to get distracted by that. But I must say at one point I was very nervous when it was the opening day, the first day of the American bar, 10 of October 2010 at 10:10. So on the 9th
numbers are lined up.
So on the 9th of October in 2010, I could not sleep. Not because I was not tired. I was scared of going to sleep, that I fell asleep and I missed the day of coming to work. So it was like every 2 hours I was checking my phone. I was like, do I need to wake up? Do I need to wake up? It was like going on my own wedding, and I was like, I can't miss this opportunity. So I came to work on 10th of October. I was so exhausted. I was like, oh my God, I did not sleep all night. Why? I just couldn't close your eyes. I was so excited of that opening day. And so that was the day when the real thing started, because in American bar at the Savoy, the protocol of the guest service, the Forbes standards and the LQA standards, and team of 22, Daniel, amazing man in charge of the bar with a German attitude, which is like no shortcuts. It's like we either do it or we don't do it at all.
Has been a moment at the Savoy or in your career where you had a huge failure and how you overcome it? Or just a failure?
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be huge, but you seems to be that you build so much confidence in yourself because you've been working hard every single day. That's what I feel.
Trying to think, like I don't really remember there was any failure. I was actually putting myself again into quite a big one when Queen Elizabeth was celebrating the Diamond Jubilee, and Daniel came to me like, Erik, can you come up with a serve for this Diamond Jubilee? He's like, let me think. I've got a cocktail. I was like, of course I have to do punch, because that's before cocktail became a king. Punch was the king of the cocktails, and that was like drunk by royalties mainly. And I'm in the train to Paris and thinking like, how am I gonna serve this? I was like, damn it, I've got it. I came back, I checked everything, like, yes, I know. So I called all the management, GM, F&B, Daniel. I'd like to present to you the Diamond Jubilee punch, how I envisage to be served. So yeah, you come to see you at the bar. It's like, no, meet me at the lobby. It's like, why in the lobby? It's like, I'd like to show you. So I'm in the lobby and I'm talking about it. So this are the ingredients and it's a punch. And I want to make sure that when we serve this, the Diamond Jubilee, it's in every 50 years. So maybe in the next Diamond Jubilee, we won't even be here. But let's make this serve as memorable as possible. And I'm taking them out of the lobby of the hotel. And I was like, Erik, but you're supposed to show us how you're going to serve the cocktail. Yes, please come with me. So we are outside by the main entrance of the Savoy where the car's turning.
Yeah.
Around the fountain.
Yeah.
And it's like, that's my vessel. It's like, where? The fountain. It's like, you mad? It's like, maybe, but that's my vessel. I want to fill up the fountain with a cocktail. Only 360 liters.
Well, this and more for the Queen Elizabeth.
And with that, again, and then everyone went back to their departments, and it's like this mad Erik had this idea to fill up the fountain with a cocktail. And then marketing teams like genius, because back in the old days, they used to do street parties. So we will do one street party with the cocktail in a fountain. So one long table through the whole Savoy row, or what's that called? Savoy, I think Savoy row by the entrance. Yeah. One long table for 60 guests in front of the fountain that we filled up with 360 liters.
Genius.
So all night I had to do the prep because it was all Osaka room. 90 liters. Why not? Zesting all night with the Nathan Merriman and Daniel. All night. I did not sleep. I finished my shift at the American bar. I went for the shift to the prep room downstairs, doing 90 liters of oral saccharum, brewing some tea and getting everything ready. Finished at 5, went upstairs for hour and a half nap, shower, and by 8 o'clock I was already crispy, ready to fill up the fountain.
Well, that is for sure really remarkable and memorable. I remember now that you mentioned many articles or many like catches
Yeah.
on that thing. Well, that's really unique, especially in the environment of the Savoy,
Yeah.
which you can't see that happening. How did you convince everybody?
Also, there was what about if we put some baskets in it with the drinks into the fountain? I was like, no. We either fill it up or we don't do baskets or don't do anything at all. So then, but we need to make it health and safety or food and safety. Yes, of course. So they had to hire an agency. So they create like a insert, so which was drinkable. So they created proper inserts and pipes through the pumps. So actually the cocktail was floating out of pipes, so you could come.
Aerating as well,
Yeah,
which is one of the important things when it comes to cocktail. So, Subway, a lot of memorable things are being done.
8.5 years.
Exactly. I was about 6.5, 7, no, 8.5.
8.5, yeah.
So from there, you are on the 8 years. There is half year to go. What has been happening?
I think on a year 2, 3, I was doing a photo shoot with Simon DeFord, so that I'm already good friends. And he told me, Eric, you should open your own bar. So he kind of put that seed in. It's like, okay. Sites. Suddenly A4 license. What is A4 license? That's the bar license. Okay, so I need to have a bar license, liquor license and all that. Doing all that research. And I think about 5, 6 years later, I felt like, okay, I feel quite strong now. And then we started getting rumors. Daniel was every time, Eric, come to the office. I heard you resigning or moving. You got a new job. It's like, me? Where? I don't resign anywhere.
Easy people start to become
People
paranoid.
started talking. And then I used that. I was like, this is perfect strategy for me. So now I can openly talk about, I want to open my own bar. Because if the message comes to him, it's like, Daniel, do you have my resignation? No. So 3 times this happened. I went to the office. It's like, Eric, I heard that you got a job offer. It's like, where again? Then I was like, okay, let's play strategic here. So when people started coming, what's your plan? I was like, yeah, I want to open my bar. I'm looking for a site. So I started completely openly talking about that. And Douglas Ankar, he came once to the bar and was like, hey, so what are you up to? He was like, yeah, I'm looking for a site. I want to open a bar. Walked away. Month later, missed call from him. I was like, hey, Doug, you called me? He's like, yeah, you're still looking for a site? I was like, yes. Do you know Murad Mazuz? I was like, Murad, your name is familiar, but who is he again? Remind me. And then he goes like, yeah, he's owner of Sketch and he has Momo on a Head on Street and downstairs the Kemia bar, which is kind of not doing well as he wants to, and he would like to do something with it. I go see the site, go downstairs. I was like, oh my God. Perfect size, perfect location. Head on Street, where I signed
Exactly that.
where I signed my contract. It's like, I'm in. So negotiated that. We entered into a partnership, 50-50. Sublet from Momo, because Momo was his own restaurant that the lease of the bar was basically attached to it, so it could not be separated. So, and then 2008, so when I signed the contract with him, I remember who I was. It was a very rainy day in London and I was going to work and I was giving my resignation to Declan. And I'll still remember when I handed it over, he was shocked and surprised. But the first question is like, what's next? I'm opening my own bar. And he just hugged me. He's like, well done.
Well,
That's where I got scared.
You are on your own now.
Now it's just like, this is it.
Do you think the fact that you start as a bartender with super humble, learning everything since your hometown to London, like is a natural progress to become an entrepreneur and start your own business. You think is
It helped.
yeah?
It helped, definitely helped, because once I learned, as you could hear, that working hard, it's something that I have no problem with, and that's how you can go farther than you think. Because when you work hard, you don't see the hours. You don't see it's. I don't even want to work hard, working a lot. You don't see it. It's too much. Or it's heavy. It's difficult. You don't see the complaining side. I remember I've learned that quick thing once. There was a guy asking me, "It's like, Eric, could you, you have a lot of friends around, and I would like to work in a bar where the music is good, it's a good pay, not too many hours, great customers, great guests and everything." And I'm looking at him, it's like, Andras, if you found a bar like that, let me know, and I send my CV there. Because bars like what you just described doesn't exist. There's always will be a bar where you have shortage of glassware, or ice machine is blocked, or sink is blocked, or whatever.
It doesn't exist, the perfect
Perfect
place.
bars doesn't exist.
It doesn't exist, and
But you can make it perfect. Inside your mind, that you go there and you see it like, how can we make things better here? How can we improve? How can we push forward? How can we make this the place that it's actually how imperfect this, but still I feel perfect with it because I enjoying what I'm doing here rather than coming here and complaining about everything. Because if you have the mindset of that, then you can go anywhere you want. And you always find something that you won't be happy with. If you're not happy with yourself, then everything will be always wrong around you.
I'm impressed of your words, and I can feel the level of passion you have towards what you do. You don't even feel the pain of the many hours. Well, on the long term, maybe, but I have really similar feeling that you have for what I do. And I know how it feels. It's more like a lifestyle in certain aspects. Taking risk, it's something that probably we do it on daily basis, and it's something that we navigate with.
Yeah.
We don't know how it's gonna end up, but what we know is that we are good at handling.
Yes,
right?
exactly.
And that's what it is. If I will ask you the 3 best advice that you would give to someone that just start bartending, what it would be?
3 best advice. It's never be satisfied with what you've done. Even if it's good, take it and be humble about it rather than I made it. For you, maybe you made it, but for someone is just a pinch of something that they achieved. And next would be respect is the big thing. And it's respecting the least, and I can't even say important, because every supplier we working with, it's a colleague. It's important because it's a circle of, it's a chain of one who supports another. So without respecting, you won't be respected. And last, it's just be honest. Be honest and see this as a great field of a great field in the industry that person who walk into your bar can have a very, very bad day and we don't know why. So if you respect them, we can find out and you can turn his little moment into something better.
Wow. What can I say? Thank you very much, Eric.
My pleasure.